Hi everyone, welcome to the pick a card reading of today. So we have pile 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for the reading today, we're going to be going over who your future spouse is going to be. Now keep in mind this is a general reading, so some messages might hit, some might miss, so please only take what resonates with you. If you're interested in the deck I used, or even a more personalized reading, the link to my website is in my bio, where I sell readings and other witchy things. If you're interested in more pick-a-card readings, make sure you're subscribed, and the link to my Instagram and socials is in the description box below. Hello, my pile number ones. So tapping into the collective of pile number 1, this is who your future spouse is going to be. So starting off, we have 10 out of 10. Which talks about their appearance. This person is very conventionally attractive. Next, we have the lone wolf. So this might be someone who does better, works better on their own, maybe is more introverted than most people. The next card we have is past marriage / engagement. So this person has either been engaged or married in the past. Okay, and for an appearance card, we have blonde hair. I can see all you girls who like dark hair kind of crying in the comments, but it is a general reading. Oh, and then we have a time frame card of 3 years. We have the Oracle card, Law. You have the Oracle card, the Protector. Love the protective vibe. Oh, and then we have another appearance card of red hair. Next up, we have the Romeo and Juliet relationship archetype card, which kind of maybe represents that maybe someone's family doesn't like your spouse or vice versa, their family doesn't like you. The military card did pop out, and we also have in the anti-romantic card. So I definitely feel like the vibe of this person is very calm, more on the quiet side, maybe appears to not kind of be... Oh, that's my cat. Congratulations, your reading has been blessed by my cat. Normally I just let him kind of walk around, but he has this bad habit of needing my oracle cards to the point where they have holes in them, and I just can't let him stay. So moving on, I'm going to pull some more cards to kind of get the full picture. I already pretty much have the picture, but I just want some additional cards. If you're going to know anything about my reading style, is that I like really big spreads. I just can't with like 2 to 3 cards. I can't. I need huge cards. I'm going to adjust the cards also so you can see them, but right now I'm just kind of sorting my way through. So we have the 3 of Wands, the Ace of Wands, a lot of fire sign energy that I'm getting. The Queen of Swords, which makes sense. We have the Law card. That makes me think of like air energy. The Swords. Okay, so what do we know about your future spouse? I do feel like they exude this intelligent, smart kind of energy. Even with the Lone Wolf card, they're not shy. They're not like a timid kind of shy. They're someone with a very strong backbone. With the 3 years time frame card, this might be someone that you're meeting in 3 years. I feel that especially if you're in your 20s or your 30s. If you're a teenager, it might take longer than that. But especially for those of you in your 20s and in your 30s, you might be meeting your future spouse very soon. If not, this might remind you of someone that you already know. So I'm getting a good mixture of fire and air from your future spouse. I'm going to pull some more cards, and then I'll call it quits, because I don't think you'll be able to see. So we have the Exorcist. So again, just very strong backbone that this person has. This person is the protector. They're the Exorcist, photographer. So that could be a hobby that they do, but I also feel like because they're described as being a 10 out of 10, that could describe how attractive they are. Okay, so we have a Thief, and what that card really talks about is someone who has a lot of confidence. Then we have the Hermit. Okay. So even though this person isn't talkative or charismatic, I feel like they are very confident. Some people just associate confidence with being extroverted, but I do feel like this person really only talks when they have something meaningful or impactful to say. I see your future spouse being someone who is very, very, very intelligent and someone who kind of fixes problems for other people, especially with the Magician, with the Exorcist, with the Protector. They're kind of being the people, the one who protects those that they love, that they care about, from outside influences, from hurtful factors. They're not like specifically this type of like provider cliche, but I do feel like they kind of fall closely into that role of having that backbone, of having leadership qualities, but it's kind of like they shy away from it. I feel like they've gotten used to being on their own. With that law card, they might specifically work in law or just have like a very strong sense of fair is fair, this is my moral code, and this is what I follow. So signs, I know I mentioned fire. Really I'm getting a lot of fire and air from them. I feel like they're really witty. I feel like this is someone that you could have really, really long conversations with. This is someone who could be really sarcastic or really wry and make you laugh in that way. Trying to think what else I can draw out here before I start. I like going through all the cards individually again, but just intuitively what I'm getting. I do feel like this person has a lot of sisters. Okay, so Romeo and Juliet. I do feel like with that anti-romantic card, I feel like there was maybe a past relationship that was really toxic in that way that caused them to kind of withdraw into themselves. Like, on second thought, I don't think you guys are the Romeo and Juliet card. I feel like that was a past relationship because a past marriage/relationship was mentioned. But with the Exorcist, again, this person is really helpful against like toxic kind of energies. And yes, jumping back to the photographer card, again, could be their literal hobby, but I do feel like your future spouse is just very, very attractive. And I feel like they almost don't know it, which makes them even more attractive. I don't feel like they have the shadow attributes, which is being superficial or fake. I feel like this person is very authentic in themselves. Again, with all the Wands cards, they have that backbone, they have that confidence in themselves and in their abilities. Maybe they didn't always used to have that, but they have that now. Okay, this is going to be someone that you can rely on, especially in times of struggle. This isn't someone who is insecure or has low self-esteem. Jumping back to law and the air sign, and kind of all of these cards combined, I feel like they might seem more practical in terms of romance, but I feel like they do have a romantic side. It just takes some time to draw it out. I feel like they've been burned in the past. I do feel like they do something logical in terms of work, whether it be working in a law office, working as a mathematician, something logical like that. I do feel like your future person is going to have acts of service be their love language. I honestly feel like you won't know that this person likes you or is in love with you in the beginning because I feel like the romantic side has just been so buried down deep. And I do feel like a past relationship, a past serious relationship has been really kind of on the spread, the energy of it at least, and I feel like that affects your future spouse's behavior. In terms of physical appearance, I do see your future spouse being more fair, so freckles, pale skin, blonde hair, red hair, but not necessarily. Keep in mind this is a general reading, but overall I do feel like the relationship is going to be really positive and loving. It might be difficult to get to know this person at first, but as time progresses, I see their protective side and their softer side really coming out for you. This is definitely someone who might appear more grumpy or just brooding, but that's not who they are as a whole. And as time goes on, that's going to be slowly drawn out of them. And that's it for pile number 1. If you enjoyed your reading and want a reading like this just for you. The link is in my description to my website. And if you're interested in this purple deck, I made it. And the link to that is also on my website. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hello, my pile number twos. So Spirit, tap me into the collective of who pile number two's future spouse is going to be. So we have the leader. We have the shadow dancer, which talks about someone who's been through a lot of trauma. I feel like that's what made them the leader. For an appearance card, we have Big Nose. Then we have the Knight of Cups. Oh, that's so cute. I love the Knight of Cups. That's my favorite card in tarot. Okay, tap me into the collective for pile number two. Okay, for an appearance card, we have gray hair. So for some of you might be watching this who are up there in age, or maybe even you're bringing in someone older than you. Oh, we have the life circumstance card, wealthy. For a lot of you, I could see this person being older than you, having some age gap. For a relationship archetype card, we have the friend. I'm going to put the heart over the Knight of Cups because they mean similar things. Oh, another appearance card, curly hair. And sour and sweet is another personality card. I'm going to be real, your person is kind of giving Silver Fox vibes. For some of you, not for all of you. Okay, so we have the Five of Pentacles. I feel like they're someone who has faced poverty before. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Six of Swords. We have the Page of Wands, a lot of fire sign energy. I think that's the Seven of Wands. Okay, I'm gonna pull just 3 or 4 more oracle cards so I can get the full picture on who your future spouse is going to be. But I'm starting to get the idea. So we have Child Magical. Tap me into the collective. Okay, so we have Goddess. So if you're wanting to bring in a woman, that's a very good card to get. Okay, and then we have the Judge Oracle card. Okay. So I am, for a lot of you, immediately being drawn to the idea that this person is older than you, or in the very least, has more life experience than you in some way. With gray hair, it might not be like that old, but for a lot of you, I do see them being, and I'm only speaking for those of you like probably 30s or more mid to late 20s, like this person being 8 to 10 years older than you. I just feel like there's some sort of like gap there in terms of maturity, but not necessarily in a bad, icky, creepy way. I do feel like this person has accumulated a lot of wealth, but maybe they didn't start that way with the Five of Pentacles. I definitely feel like with the independence, with the leadership vibes that they're giving me, this person is a fire sign or embodies a lot of fire sign traits. I feel like this person is someone who learns from their mistakes. I'm trying to get a handle on who they are, like the front they give off, but I do feel like this person is kind of mysterious. I feel like they're very charismatic, so they draw a lot of people in. I feel like this is someone that people go to for advice, so I feel like they're warm and confident and inviting in that way. With the Goddess Oracle card, if you want your future spouse to be a woman, I feel like that's just a tell for like them being really conventionally attractive. And if you're trying to bring in a man, I feel like they get a lot of attention romantically. I feel like this person is just genuinely pretty attractive. I feel like the big nose card is really the only thing that might be unconventionally attractive about them. So yeah, Goddess talks about either relationships that you've had or the sort of persona that you give off. With Child Magical, I actually feel like, again, especially if you're watching this and you're in your 30s or 40s or even 20s, I do feel like this person might have a kid already. But again, this is a general reading. This probably won't resonate if you're a teenager watching this or someone who is in their early 20s. I feel like this message is more for people later on in their years, but not like elderly yet. Again, definitely see this person being wealthy. I feel like they have their own home. It could also be that you don't meet your future spouse until later in life for some of you. But again, general reading. Only take what resonates. This is all very age dependent, those messages. With the Queen of Wands, again, I see this person being very warm, inviting, independent, creative. But I do get kind of like a silent type of vibe from them, even though I'm right, because you've got the Seven of Wands. So I feel like there's some walls up. There's some defensiveness when it comes to getting to know them. Because with the Knight of Cups and the Heart, that talks about someone kind of with a heart of gold. But then with the Six of Swords, especially in this deck, that card gives me very mysterious, eerie vibes. It's like the descent into the underworld. I feel like maybe they've had a lot of responsibilities. There's definitely been past trauma, not necessarily with the Judge or the Leader card, but with the Shadow Dancer card. With the Judge card, I feel like they've had to balance a lot of other people's conflicts in life. So I'm struggling. Okay. But with the Knight of Cups and the Heart, that talks about someone who's very pure of heart, very romantic, but I feel like that's something your future spouse will try and hide from you and from other people. I feel like they've learned to kind of stifle that down, hide that away. Now, for others of you, I feel like this message is more for people in their 20s or in their teenage years. I feel like this person will be a friend to you for a while before it becomes romantic. That's your relationship archetype card. So for some of you, and that it didn't resonate for, like this being an age gap, this person being older, or you being older, I see more of that, and this person finding a lot of success in life later. So with the Shadow Dancer, I don't know what the trauma is specifically about, but the Shadow Dancer talks about someone who has seen some pretty dark stuff, and with Sweet and Sour, I feel like that's caused them to kind of be closed off to that romantic, wholesome part of themselves. I really don't know what it is. It could be the Poverty card. I did get the Five of Pentacles that can talk about poor health too. And then lastly, for our appearance cards, we have curly hair and big nose. I am kind of getting Italian vibes from them. And definitely like this sort of strong sense of family unit. Okay, so that is your reading pile number 2. I so hope it helped in some way. If you're interested in the purple deck I used, the link is in my description. And if you're interested in a personalized reading, the link to my website is also in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, my pile number 3s. Here's your reading all about who your future spouse is going to be. So tap me into the collective of pile number 3. So starting off, we have the Queen of Cups. Tap me into the collective of pile number 3. Okay, next we have the Two of Swords. The Two of Wands. Oh, the Ten of Swords. Okay. If you hear that sound, it's just my dog chewing on his bone. I don't want to take it away from him. That's so mean. I can't do it. Even though it's making the clinking sound. Okay. Just making sure it's focused, my camera. Okay, tap me into the collective of pile number 3. I also pulled the Hangman. Okay, so we have the Socialist next. I'm going to put that over the Queen of Cups. I get a lot of water sign energy from this pile, even though it's not filled with cups. I feel like the Queen of Cups came out first. We have the Socialist. I feel like your future spouse is someone that cares about people a lot and is more sociable than the norm. Very emotionally intuitive. If I put a card back, that's just because I didn't like the way it flipped out. And I also want you to see it. So yeah, let me just kind of adjust where I'm sitting. Okay. Next we have the Surfer. Make sure that's kind of focused. Okay, so that talks about someone who's more laid back, who's a type of go with the flow kind of person. Okay, we have the Unconventionally Attractive card. Now that doesn't mean this person is ugly. That's just what I want to start out with. That just means they might have unconventional features. They don't look like a Hollywood model, if that makes sense. Oh, and water sign came out. Okay, I definitely feel like this person is a water sign or just embodies a lot of water sign traits. We have the Sage. Okay, so that talks about mentoring people and being emotionally and intuitively in tune. So this person is very emotionally intelligent. So we have the personality card, Practical Planner. We have air sign coming through as well. It's possible you could be an air sign too. So we'd have an air sign and a water sign together. Or it's possible they could be either. General reading. Okay, so we have facial hair. Obviously, if you're bringing in a woman as your future spouse, that message won't apply. The self-sabotager, I definitely get that vibe with the Ten of Swords. With the Hangman. We have atheist / agnostic, which is interesting because all the cards I pulled really make me feel like this is someone who's very spiritual, very emotionally in tune, very intuitively in tune. Oh, another card that means sabotage. Okay, so we have the self-sabotage, then we have sabotager card. Okay, so these two cards together. I definitely feel like this person might struggle with low self-esteem. Why? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll be able to get into it further as we go along in the reading. But I definitely feel like this person, with the Ten of Swords, with whatever happened in their life, they kind of put themselves down a lot. Mediator, that's very similar to the Sage Oracle card. This is someone who people go to more to get emotional guidance than anything else. I feel like if you're someone who's dealt with a lot of people who hasn't really let you be emotionally open, I feel like with your future spouse, you'll be able to like have heart-to-hearts with this person. I feel like this person will always care about your emotional state. There will be no emotional indifference with this person. With Child Eternal, I do feel like this person is rather childish. And not in the sense like, oh, this person hasn't grown up yet. I feel like they're just very connected to that innocent, youthful part of themselves. Like they might be more playful than most. I feel like this person doesn't really fit into society's box, if that makes sense. And not in a way where they're like being rebellious or anything like that. I feel like just they have a specific skill set that doesn't really correlate with busy 9-to-5 daily life. I feel like they honestly belong in like a different century, a different time. I do feel like something traumatic happened with the Ten of Swords that made them stop believing in spirituality or just their belief system in general with atheist / agnostic. Now, there's nothing wrong with being atheist or agnostic, but I feel like this person with the Queen of Cups was very much in tune with all that spiritual stuff, but then something happened to kind of cause them to deviate from that path. I feel like at their core, they're a very spiritual, gentle, kind, and emotionally intelligent person who likes helping other people. I do feel like for a lot of you, you were either had past partners or were raised in a family where there was a lot of emotional indifference or a lot of implosions. I feel like this person is just so emotionally healthy that it's going to be a breath of fresh air for you. I do feel like this person, like with the imagery of him kind of being like on a surfboard, like some people see him as a coaster through life. Oh, and a King of Cups. So we have King of Cups, Queen of Cups. That is very much, if you could describe your future spouse in a card, they would be described as one of the kings or the queens of cups. But I feel like they don't fit into a role, and that causes self-sabotage, and that causes insecurity. I feel like this person is going to seem very bright and happy on the day-to-day, but I do feel like they have like hidden depression or just hidden insecurity. I don't think it's something that like comes out to other people. It could also be they're so busy like focusing on other people's problems, like let's say they're a therapist for other people, that they neglect their own emotional health and well-being. But I do feel like this person is very smart spiritually, emotionally, and I feel like they beat themselves up because they're not book smart or because they're not like the status quo. I do see them being more practical or trying to be. Like, I feel like they've kind of disconnected from the best parts of themselves to try and chase, like, planning for the future, being more practical. And I do think they needed that to an extent, but I do think it's destroying the best parts of themselves. I'm kind of getting where your future spouse is emotionally in their life rather than who they are. But I feel like who they are is really boiled down to the King or the Queen of Cups. Very kind, gentle, warm, nurturing. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice here, but with the Socialist and the Surfer and Child Eternal, I feel like this person is so much fun too. This is someone who is adventurous, who's gonna make you laugh, who you can go on adventures with. I feel like they just don't realize their own value or their own skill set. Definitely water sign for a lot of you. Definitely empathetic. But because I feel like they feel like they're an empath, I know that's a buzzword, but I do definitely feel like your future spouse is an empath. I feel like they also feel their emotions so heavily with that 10 of Cups and the emotions of people around them. I'm going to pull some more cards. Oh, yep. Child Divine. So this is definitely someone who feels really deeply, who has a heart of gold, likes guiding others, connected spiritually. I feel like they view themselves as being behind in life, more indecisive. But the things they view as weaknesses are actually their strengths, and that's going to eventually level out later in life. But for now, I kind of feel like they're kind of stuck in one place. Maybe everyone else has like high-end jobs and they're more content to just live their day-to-day lives. I don't feel like they're very ambitious, but that isn't inherently a bad thing. So, and in terms of physical appearance, we have unconventionally attractive and facial hair. But again, unconventionally attractive doesn't mean this person is ugly. It just means they're not a supermodel or they have features that stand out in an unconventional way. For example, my nose is kind of big. Like society would consider that unconventional as of right now. To society's standards, they're not going to be a supermodel. But nothing wrong with that. Okay, and that concludes your reading pile number 3. If you're interested in a more in-depth reading, the link to my website is in the description box. If you're interested in the purple deck that I used, the link is also in my description box. Thank you so much. Hello, my pile number 4s. Here is your reading all about who your future spouse is going to be. So starting off, we have Divine Masculine. Now, even if you're bringing in a woman, that she can still have a lot of Divine Masculine traits. Next card we have is Ride or Die. The next card we have is Medicine. Oh, the next card we have is the Serpent. I'll get into the meanings as the video goes on. I'm just going to list them out for now. Okay, the next card we have is Trade. I'm going to put that over Medicine because I do feel like they might work in a medical field. Okay, the next card we have is the Firebrand. City Slicker for life circumstances. So if you live in a city, you might be bumping into your future spouse there. Okay, for physical attributes, we have freckles. Freckles are cute. Okay. Next, we have the Lovers. The Lovers again. Next, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So this person is very put together as a person. I feel like they already, depending on your age group, they have their own place. They know their career path. They're very ambitious. The Knight of Swords, definitely. Air or sign, I feel. More cold and calculated vibes. They know the Emperor, definitely. Okay, the Emperor is a great card. This person is very confident. They just might be a little scary. Not in a bad way. Just maybe more intimidating. Okay, so we have the Musician Oracle card. So your future spouse might be musically gifted or a literal musician. I definitely don't think they follow a feast or famine lifestyle, though, okay? I see your future spouse really having it all together and really thriving under a structured environment. Okay, this isn't, they might have a creative side, but that's not the side of themselves that they're going to pursue. I do feel like some people with the Serpent Oracle card, that Oracle card kind of talks about someone who's kind of comes across as cold, as like so ambitious that they don't really pick up on other people's feelings or care about other people's feelings. I don't think that's true because your future spouse is represented by the ride or die. I do feel like that's how they come across, though. I see them being very career driven, very goal driven, very about being the provider, being the protector, taking care of other people. The Scribe, I see them being very, very diligent, and they probably excel in those kind of structured educational environments. I see your future spouse being very passionate with you. Because with the one Oracle card that's underneath Scribe that you can't really see right now, that talks about the Firebrand, which is like passion, expressing passion. I definitely feel like your future spouse is very confident in themselves, in their capabilities. This is someone who's very, very, very capable, and they know it. Like it's like, you ever know one of those people that whatever they set out to accomplish, they do? That's going to be your future spouse. And I see them being very loyal and very committed, but they might not be lovey-dovey mushy, if that makes sense. We have the Lovers, but it's more, I feel like, about that physical chemistry. I think connecting to their emotional side would be difficult because they are stereotypically the divine masculine. And in those stereotypical masculine roles, I feel like they're just not as connected emotionally as the divine feminine. They're less about nurture and more about doing. I definitely feel like they work in a very high-strung environment, which could also make them come across as like cold-hearted or appear that way, because if you work in medicine, eventually you just start getting fatigued, worn down, etc. You get caregiver fatigue, you get more apathetic. So that could be like almost a side effect of them working in a high-stress environment like that. It's also possible that you work in medicine and that's how you two end up meeting. I'm trying to draw some other conclusions. I do feel like if you're a teenager watching this, you're not going to meet your future spouse until you are well on your way into adulthood. Like, you've already finished schooling. I see like late 20s if you're a teenager watching this. I don't feel like you're going to be meeting them anytime soon, or if you do, you're not going to end up being together until you both are later in life, later in your years. If you're already in your 20s or approaching your 30s, 40s, 50s, I feel like, yeah, it's going to be soon. With City Slicker, again, that could be like a message for you, but I do feel since we're asking about them, I do feel like they lived in a city, grew up in a city, I do think they're very street smarts, intelligent. So even though this person won't like have heart-to-heart conversations with you, they're loyal, they're committed, and they're protective over you. I do think it'll be a while before you two get on the same page in terms of your feelings, especially if you're someone whose love language is getting all this verbal affirmation. I don't see that person doing that. I feel like having those emotional heart to hearts or giving words of affirmation is more difficult for them. I definitely see like physical touch or acts of service being like their love language. Like I feel like your physical attraction will be fire, so that's kind of what's gonna lead into you two getting married. And going back to the serpent, it's not that this person is a bad person. The serpent isn't inherently a bad card. It just means it's basically, if you've ever seen Harry Potter, it's like the Slytherin house. Not all Slytherins are bad. It's just they're very like independent and set on their goals. I actually don't know what sign they'd be. I don't forget if I mentioned that because I definitely see fire, but I also see earth. I feel like they're very reliable. I feel like once you know this person, you know what you're going to get from them. But like if you're expecting them to be romantic and sweet, I don't see that being them at all. But maybe you don't like that. Maybe you're like, I'm done with all this cringe romance. And like it's not that I'm explaining this wrong. It's not that there won't be romance, but it won't be mushy. It won't be like it won't be mushy. It'll be through the physical, the chemical, and then like getting things done for you. I do see this person being more on the quiet side, but also being very charming when they want to be. Okay, this is someone that can charm a lot. This is someone who is very attractive, I think, to a lot of people, especially because they're that divine masculine. So moving on, we have the Oracle card Father, just to finish it off. And with these three together, they kind of mean the same thing. So we have divine masculine, we have Father, we have the Emperor. And again, with the divine masculine, it's just a really stereotypical, like masculine role, old school. That's just what happens in tarot. So it has nothing to do with today's gender norms. Like for all I know, this is your future spouse, but they're non-binary. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. They could also be a literal father. With the Lovers and the Firebrand, I definitely see this person very, very passionate. Okay, they're very connected to the physical, but not the emotional, okay? I don't see this person having a lot of water sign attributes. Again, there's not going to be any mush from this person. Again, City Slicker, from the city, lives in the city, street smart, things like that. It could be the same for you also. That's just a life circumstances card. The Ride or Die, again, which would you rather have? Love bombing, fake words of love, or this ride or die person that's gonna be there for you no matter what. Okay, this is someone who commits. This is not someone who cheats or who just love bombs you and dips. With medicine and trade, I definitely see them working in the very least in a high stress environment. But I feel like they thrive in it. But I do think with the Serpent card afterwards, which talks about kind of having a lack of empathy for others, and not in like a horrible way where like it's like I don't feel anything at all. It's more the focus is very much on themselves. And I feel like that's probably why. So that's a very specific message for who your future spouse is. They're very determined, they're very confident. Jumping back to musician, I do see like a creative side to them, but I feel like it's kind of on the back burner. Maybe you'll bring that out of them. For physical appearance, we just got freckles. But maybe that'll resonate for some of you. Again, the Serpent, not necessarily a bad card. It talks about a confident, driven person, but like the focus is on them. And I feel like the Knight of Swords is very similar to the Serpent card, because the swords to me are more clinical than emotional like the cups are. And with the Nine of Pentacles, this person will probably be wealthy, and the very least stable. I see them very much having their life together. I do see a slow burn for you guys. I feel like it'll be difficult for you to recognize their feelings, at least in the beginning. So that concludes your reading pile number 4. If you're interested in a personalized reading, the link to my website is in the description box below. If you're interested in the purple deck that I used that had cards like the Serpent on it, I made that deck myself. That is also on my website, where I also sell other witchy products. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, guys.